Hillary for America, Rubio's A New American Century, and J.K. Rowling's organization comes right here to the U.S. This is the Weekend Readout. Hey everybody, I'm Drexel, and welcome to the Weekend Readout, the show that recaps important stories in politics, pop culture, and pretty much anything else we've been paying attention to from this week. So, let's read it out. The inevitable happened this week, and no, I'm not talking about the insane Beverly Hills Housewives reunion. With a FedEx-type logo, former First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton announced that she would be seeking again the Democratic nomination for president. Now, it's no secret my views on the issues facing our nation, but in an effort to provide some balanced coverage of our elections, I'll treat all the candidates pretty much the same. Anyone who grew up in my generation grew up with the Clintons. They have been a huge part of our political landscape for about as long as I can remember. President Bill Clinton is one of the nation's most popular presidents, and Secretary Clinton has been front and center since she left the White House in 2000. She's got an 86% approval rating amongst Democrats, a 100% shot at becoming the Democratic nominee for president, and a 50-50 chance of becoming our nation's next president. From Whitewater to Benghazi to Emailgate, though, Secretary Clinton has a lot to answer for to earn the trust of the 52% of Americans who don't trust her very much at all. For now, though, we'll focus on the things that actually matter, the issues. Where does Hillary Clinton stand now, and how would past Hillary feel about it? On immigration, Clinton has stayed pretty consistent. She has supported comprehensive immigration reform, giving undocumented residents a path to legal status. As a senator, she supported President Bush's immigration efforts, but that didn't make it very far in the GOP-led Senate. With Israel and Iran front and center, as Secretary of State, she supported a two-state solution with Israel and Palestine, and still does. Her position on Iran has changed, though, as she supports the president's current efforts to negotiate with Iran on a nuclear resolution. Running against the president in 2008, she criticized the president for even suggesting he'd negotiate with Tehran. Wall Street was a huge contributor to the 2007 economic collapse, and as a New York senator, Hillary Clinton has been a champion for the bankers. She does, however, favor campaign finance reform and economic reform that focuses primarily on the middle class. With the Clinton Global Initiative, Secretary Clinton has been a champion for women's rights, equal pay, and abortion rights. On LGBT rights, she was against gay marriage before she was for it, and oddly enough, she's still contemplating her stance on legalizing marijuana. Hopefully, she has let Bill in on that secret. There's no doubt Secretary Clinton is the number one target on the GOP's list. Democrats and supporters, however, will have to decide early if they want to defend Clinton now or wait and see who else comes along. Now, as if Sunday's announcement wasn't enough, another obvious candidate, the junior senator from Florida, Marco Rubio, gave his announcement the very next day. Now, I remember when Senator Rubio first came on the national stage. He was just out of his term as Florida House Speaker and gave the keynote speech at the Republican National Convention in 2012. A Tea Party darling, he was likable, he was smart, and he was different, and most importantly, he was Latino. He began his Senate term advocating for immigration reform, but got wrapped up in the storm that were Senators Ted Cruz and Mike Lee. He just couldn't resist teaming up with the fringe's most colorful representatives. He gave the Republicans' 2013 State of the Union response, and while the rest of us were focusing more on where he was going to get his next drink of water, he was trying to focus on his speech's content. His presidential campaign's theme now is a new American century, and other than being the nation's first Latino president, let's take a look at where a new American century would take us under a Rubio administration. He doesn't have much of a defense background, but favors prioritizing defense spending over spending taxpayers' money on government programs. He believes in climate change, but doesn't believe the actual scientists who say that it's man-made. He's opposed to giving undocumented immigrants a path to legal citizenship, then supported a compromise, then was against everything again. Now he supports securing the border and then dealing with the issue later. He also opposes normalizing relations with Cuba. He's not fully supportive of a woman's right to choose, but believes that abortion should be banned after the 20-week mark. And he wants to cut corporate tax rates to 25%, the same tax rate under President Bush. Now, it's all or nothing for Senator Rubio, as he's not running for a Senate seat again, because he can't. And in his campaign speech this week, he labeled Hillary Clinton and her policies yesterday's news. I just hope he's figured out a way to convince us that the same doesn't ring true for his current policy stances. Now, I've been a huge Harry Potter fan since the books came out in 1998. I've been with Harry, Ron, and Hermione through Basilisks, Horcruxes, and Spew. Like Hermione's Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare, it's only fitting that the character that she sees herself the most in, J.K. Rowling, will launch an organization that works to protect people. According to their website, Lumos, currently a UK-based organization, works to help the millions of children in institutions worldwide regain their right to a family. Fitting for a woman whose billion-dollar character's life revolves around his orphan status. This week, Rowling launched the United States leg of her organization, Lumos USA, in hopes to continue the mission, moving the care of disadvantaged children away from the group's home and orphanages and finding ways to support them and their families. With 8 million children institutionalized, Rowling believes that children are damaged psychologically, physically, and emotionally. Now, America is known for being a charitable nation, so it's no surprise that Rowling would want to move her organization to a nation where the welfare of children remains a top priority. Rowling says, America gives a phenomenal amount of money, and we would love to see this aid and other philanthropy channeled towards aid supporting children and their families rather than the separation of families. According to SOS, children's villages in the United States, over 120,000 orphans, with another 400,000 children living without permanent families, and 27,000 of those are aging out of the system with no family or financial support. For their part, Lumos' solution is to focus on changing the system, developing more and better services, taking their case around the world, and working with young people to make a difference and keeping their voices heard. You can check all of the information and more about Rowling's efforts at wearelumos.org. Now, last week I introduced a new segment where I picked my favorite quote of the week from one of the topics I talked about from today. So here's this week's The Requote. J.K. Rowling is in the process of bringing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them to the big screen, and when asked about whether or not she was going to write more children's books in the future, she said, I absolutely love writing for children, so I'm certainly not closing that door. I would love to do more. It's always been for me. When the idea finds me, I'll do it. Hopefully the idea will find her and take her back to the wizarding world. A boy can only dream. As always, there's a lot of things happening around the world that I think you should be paying attention to, so here's this week's Not to Mention. Convicted boyfriend murderer Jody Arias was sentenced this week to life without possibility of parole. At 25, New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez was found guilty of murder. Speaking of jail time and criminals, The Orange is the New Black and the teaser trailer for Batman and Superman came out. The new Star Wars teaser trailer also was released this week. Senator Reid called the GOP candidates all losers. Attorney General nominee Loretta Lynch still hasn't been confirmed. And for the first time in a long time, the Senate passed bills everyone can deal with, securing a congressional Iran deal and fixing a payment deal with doctors for Medicare. Don't forget you can check all of these stories in the info box below. Now, in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Professor Dumbledore said, It's our choices, Harry, that show us who we truly are far more than our abilities. Over the next few months, we'll be faced with many choices in this election, and in November of 2016, the penultimate choice will decide the direction our nation will go domestically and globally. Now, militarily, we are a mighty nation. Morally, we lead the world in human rights. However, there are elected officials here who want to see that momentum stopped from moving us in a direction that will keep our nation great. As primary season heats up, debate smart ideas, add to the conversation, and make smart choices. Right now, choose the best decision to take a look and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/theweekendreadout. Check out my blog, thereadout365.com. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week. Did you like that episode? Make sure to share with your friends, family, neighbors, all across social media. Don't forget to subscribe and join me here every Saturday right here on The Weekend Readout.